Hi friends, today I'll be making this old-fashioned cake that is still very popular today. It's called bird's milk cake and it's so delicious. It has 2 layers of sponge cake, the bird's milk is in between, and it's covered in chocolate ganache. It's so good. Let's get started. We'll start off by making the sponge cake and we'll need 4 eggs. And we'll separate the egg whites from egg yolk by placing the egg whites in one bowl and egg yolk in the separate bowl. Start mixing the egg whites until they're fluffy and white. Do you see that stiff peak? That's what you need. Add 2/3 of a cup of sugar to the egg yolks and start mixing until they will double in size and they will also get lighter in color. Get 2/3 of a cup of flour and add 1 teaspoon of baking powder to the flour. Give that a quick mix and then add that to the egg yolk batter. I'll be mixing with the spatula and just mix until the flour is mixed in with the rest of the batter. Now we'll be adding the egg whites to the egg yolk batter, and I'll be adding about 1/3 of the egg whites at a time. You want the sponge cake batter to be fluffy, so be very gentle when mixing and just mix until the egg whites are mixed in. And here I have 9-inch tray with removable sides, and I covered the bottom with some parchment paper. Give it a good shake to make it flat and even. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 25 minutes. And you can always check if the cake is ready by poking it with the wooden stick. If it's dry, it's ready. If it's wet, it's not ready. And after about 10 minutes, I'll go with the knife along the edges. That way it'll be easier for me to remove the cake from the tray. And let the cake cool down completely before cutting it. And now we'll make the bird's milk filling. We'll need 10 eggs. Separate the egg whites from the egg yolk and set the egg whites aside for now. I'm covering mine with the plastic wrap and I'll store them in the refrigerator. Add 1 cup of sugar to the egg yolk and start mixing until lighter in color, and they'll also increase in size. And this is how the batter will look. Add 2 tablespoons of flour and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Give it a quick mix and add 1 cup of milk. And mix just until everything is incorporated. And now get 150 milliliters of warm water and add 28 grams of gelatin. If you're using the one in little bags by Knox, it's 4 bags. Mix until the gelatin dissolves in the water. Cover it with a plastic wrap and set it aside for now. Transfer the bird's milk batter to a medium-sized pan and start heating it up on low heat and mixing it for about 5 minutes. The cream will start to thicken and that's when you have to remove it from the heat. And you do have to be very careful here, so mix all 5 minutes, don't stop mixing. And you can see my cream is starting to thicken, so I'll remove mine from the heat. Mix for another 30 seconds. And you can see how beautiful and smooth the cream got. It's almost like a pudding consistency. Let the batter cool down to room temperature. We'll be adding butter and we don't want the butter to melt. So if you measure it with the food thermometer, it shouldn't be no more than 100 degrees in Fahrenheit. Give it a quick mix. And add 300 grams of butter room temperature and mix until everything is smooth and even consistency. In a separate bowl, add 10 egg whites and start mixing until white and fluffy. Add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt and 1 cup of sugar. And start mixing until stiff peaks. And you can see how fluffy the egg whites got. They have those stiff peaks. That's perfect. Now you'll be mixing on low speed and adding your gelatin slowly. If your gelatin got solid by now, you can melt it by heating it up. But be very careful, just heat up lightly. And when you're done adding all the gelatin, mix for another 30 seconds or so on low speed. Now we'll combine the egg yolk batter with the egg whites batter. And mix just until everything is smooth and combined together. Here I have my 9-inch round tray with removable sides. I lined the bottom of it with some parchment paper. And I'm transferring all the batter to the tray. Give it a good shake to make it all even and nice. Cover it with a plastic wrap and store it in the refrigerator for at least a few hours so the gelatin will thicken. Split the sponge cake into 2 even pieces. My bird's milk filling has thickened in the refrigerator, and I'll go along the edges with the knife. Place one of the sponge cake on top of the bird's milk filling. Then place a cake pad or a plate and carefully flip it over. Remove the edges of the tray. Remove the bottom of the tray. Remove the parchment paper. Place the other layer of sponge cake on top. And this is what we got so far. You can see the bird's milk filling is kind of bigger than the sponge cake. You can cut it with a knife, but I'll leave mine just as it is. And now we'll prepare the chocolate ganache to cover the cake. To 1 cup of chocolate chips, add half of a cup of milk and 30 grams of butter. That's about 2 tablespoons. I usually melt my chocolate ganache in microwave, and I stop every 20 seconds and give it a good mix. Your chocolate should look very smooth and runny. Now simply cover the cake with chocolate ganache. I'm not sure how you want to do it, but I'll transfer my cake to a baking rack. Or you can also decorate the cake on a plate, but I feel like the rack will make less mess. I'm transferring the cake back to the cake pad, and I'll refrigerate it for at least 1 or 2 hours. I like to decorate my cake with some fresh strawberries, and I dip mine in white chocolate. Wash the strawberries well and then dry them with some paper towel completely. You don't want any water. Dip them in melted chocolate and place them on parchment paper or silicone mat. Let the chocolate harden fully before placing the strawberries on the cake. The cake is good to be served right away. We actually ate ours the same evening. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this cake as much as we do. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to do that for more yummy recipes coming soon.